There are experiences in life that we never dare to admit publicly, moments that shake both faith and reason. I once thought UFOs were nothing more than rumors, internet jokes, or stories for science fiction movies. But then, one fateful night changed everything. A strange light tore across the sky, sounds that did not belong to this world, and a feeling I can hardly describe, as if someone or something was peering directly into my mind. From that very moment, I was no longer the same person, and today I want to share this, not to convince you to believe, but to make you ask yourself, are we truly alone in this universe? As I approach my 40s, I recall the very first time I encountered what people call a UFO or an orb in this world, back when I was in my mid-20s. That experience profoundly changed me for years afterward, reshaping everything I thought I knew about reality. Fortunately for me, those visitors from the other side only reacted. They never invaded. I still remember that summer night vividly. A friend and I witnessed two orbs dancing in the sky, performing the strangest ballet, defying every law of this reality, moving faster than light itself. What was even more fascinating was that very night, I first experienced telepathic communication. I was asked whether I had seen enough of this realm, whether I had remembered. They invited me once more to join them. At the time, I was still young and rational. I was fascinated by the possibility of life beyond our world, yet my mind still clung to the official narrative of aliens and spaceships. Only years later, when I sought reconnection, did they reappear in my life. Strangely enough, in this realm, we are told to fear abduction. But I can honestly say, it felt like an invitation. The moment they sensed fear in me, they left me alone. And so I continued my life in this world. Years later, contact resumed. We established seamless telepathic communication, but only when I truly felt the desire. They were endlessly patient with me, acting only in accordance with my will. Now people call me an experiencer, a contactee, a witness of the so-called third kind. Labels, though, are something I've grown wary of. What truly matters are the lessons I've carried from all those encounters. UFOs, orbs, are like signals, lighthouses pointing to the existence of something beyond this world. By performing extraordinary maneuvers, they seem to urge us to recognize the limits of this reality, and more importantly, to acknowledge that there is something beyond it. It is as if they're whispering, "You believe everything obeys the limits of your dimension? Watch again." They seem to want to awaken us within the dream. Just as in dreams, we are meant to notice the contradictions in our surroundings, the synchronicities, the Mandela effect, déjà vu, contradictions in history, blatant reversals of truth in this reality, and the orbs dancing in the sky, mocking the very rules of physics. One might argue they have no intention of coming down to join us. Instead, perhaps it is we who are invited to rejoin them, if we choose to. They may not be aliens in the way we imagine. I suspect they are far more connected to us than we realize. Perhaps our very consciousness springs from the same source they once emerged from. These are the truths I have distilled from my direct encounters, and so the questions continue to haunt me. What if they have little to do with extraterrestrials and more to do with our own forgotten origins? What if this world is an illusion and they are trying to wake us within the dream? What if our identities and avatars are disguises, traps that keep us from realizing our timeless, non-local nature? What if what we think of as abduction is actually an act of free will, a passage beyond this existence, a reunion with them? And what if the invitation has nothing to do with being special or chosen, only with being willing to connect? I still ask myself these questions, and I tell you this: after all I've seen in this realm, the invitation has returned, whether from them or from within myself. Next time, I intend to accept it. Closing, to spark curiosity and answer the community's question. Perhaps the greatest question is not whether UFOs are real, but whether we are ready to accept a reality different from what we've always believed. The orbs of light, the telepathic voices. They may not be messages from strangers in the sky, but mirrors reflecting our eternal origin. The community often wonders, why don't UFOs land? Why don't they reveal themselves openly? But maybe They don't need to step into our world. What they truly want is for us to step out of the cage of our own beliefs. So, are UFOs visitors from elsewhere? Or are they echoes of our own consciousness from another layer of reality? Perhaps the answer never lay in the spacecrafts themselves, but in whether we dare to question and to face the hidden truth behind this dream. And if one day the invitation comes again, what will you do? Reject it in fear, or take the chance to open a door no one has ever dared to walk through?